Good morning, students. My name is Tariq Hassan. I'll be conducting your class today on IBPS PO 2018 Math Review. So we'll be looking at the mathematics paper from the last year of IBPS PO prelims and understanding what was the kind of questions and difficulty level of that paper. So overview, if you look at the paper of the PO examination last year, the difficulty level was moderate to slightly difficult. So if you see data interpretation, two sets of questions were there, very simple and easy to calculate and get the answers. Number series and approximation questions were also pretty easy to handle. So what I'll be discussing with you today in this session is are the maths questions, the questions from arithmetics. I'll be taking up all the questions from the previous paper based on memory, and we'll be discussing what is look at the question change in format, look at the difficulty level, and also see how to solve those questions quickly in the best possible way. Okay, so that is the purpose of the class for today, to discuss the some of the challenging questions from the mathematics paper from the IBPS PO prelims last year 2018. That gives an idea about what to expect in this year and what should be your strategy. Okay, so let's look at this question. The question number one that you see on the screen is from the speed, time and distance topic. If you look at the last 5 to 6 years, you'll see a gradual increase in the difficulty level of questions from the arithmetic section of the examination. And look at this question here. It says Ram drives from A to B by car at 90 kilometers per hour. He goes to C from B by bike at 60 kilometers per hour. The distance between A and C is 200 kilometers, while the average speed between A and C is 75 kilometers per hour. What is the distance traveled by the car? So here we have to find out the distance traveled by the car from A to B and then from B to C. Okay, let's see. Now the question is based on speed, time and distance, but actually this question can be solved very easily if you use the right method, and that method is the method of alligation. So what we'll do here is understand, we know speed into time is equal to distance. So whenever we have something like this, what we can do is we can alligate the speed. So alligation is a technique that we always use with the rate. So rate means kilometers per hour, and when you alligate the speed you will get the ratio of time. This you must keep in mind. When you alligate speed, so A into B is equal to C. So if A is we do alligation with A, we get the ratio of T. So let's see here, what is given to us is there's a distance from A to B and B to C, and that distance, we don't know the distance from A to B, but we know the speed from A to B is 90 kilometers per hour and the speed from B to C is 60 kilometers per hour, and we know that the average speed is 75 kilometers per hour. So what we'll do here quickly, let's see. We'll take 90 and 60 and 75, we'll put at the center. 90 and 75, this is 15, and 75 and 60, that is also 15. So we get a ratio of 1:1. That means that the time taken to go from A to B is same as the time taken to go from B to C. Okay, so that's a very useful information. And if you know this concept, you don't have to do anything. Just look at the question. 90 kilometers per hour, 60 kilometers per hour, 75 kilometers per hour is the average speed. What you do is you simply take this ratio 1:1. The time taken ratio is same. Time taken from A to B and time taken from B to C is same. That the ratio is 1:1. When time taken is same, when time is constant, you understand? When time is constant, ratio of speed is equal to ratio of distance. So distance covered ratio from A and B will also be equal to 90:60, that is 3:2. The distance covered ratio will be how much? 3:2. Total distance is 200, and 3 and 2 we get 5, and this is 200 here. Okay, 1 second. I think we have to just restart this thing. 1 second. Just it takes 10 seconds to restart the program, and then we'll start with the question again. We'll see again what is the what we're discussing here and how should we solve this question. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's see here. Okay. So now, till now, what we have done, we have understood two things, that when we are solving a question like this, we take the ratio of the speed given to you. It's a matter of 5 seconds, you will know that the ratio of speed is 1 is to 1. Ratio of time is 1 is to 1. So the distance from A to B and the distance from B to C, let's say this distance is dA and this distance is dB, and we know speed is given to you as 90 kilometers per hour and 60 kilometers per hour. And from the topic of speed, time and distance, we understand that when speed is constant, then ratio of distance will be same as the ratio of speed, and 90 and 60 we know is 3 is to 2. If you add 3 and 2, we get 5, and we know the actual distance is 200. So multiply here 40 times, that gives you 80 kilometers per hour, and 3 into 40 is 120 kilometers per hour. So here the answer is 120 kilometers per hour. Distance traveled by car from A to B is what we are finding out here. So answer will become 120 kilometers per hour. So that's the technique here, because if you go and solve it in the regular method by using all the formulas, creating equations, and after creating equations, if you solve them, then it will not be possible for you to solve this question in 1 minute. But if you know this approach, right, you not have to draw all the diagrams. This entire question should take 10 to 15 seconds only, condition to the fact that you should know the concepts quite well. You should know exactly what is the concept and what is required in this question. So again, while you're solving real time in the examination and you know the concept that I am discussing here, that we can solve this question by alligation, you would just do this 90, 60, 75, 15, 15. This would take 4 to 5 seconds for you. The moment you understand the ratio of time is same, the ratio of distance will also be the ratio of speed, 3 is to 2, 3 plus 2 is 5, total distance is 200, multiply 40, you get 80 and 120. This would take 5 seconds. In 10 seconds, the question will be possible to be solved. Although this is a question which normally would be categorized as a higher difficulty question in the banking exam point. From the banking exam point of view, we would see this as a higher difficulty question. But if you know the right techniques, the kind of techniques that we discuss here, you will see that you're getting the answer in 10 seconds flat. So this is what you require. Today in exams like IBPS prelims or SBI PO prelims, the cutoff has gone so high that if you don't know the fastest possible techniques of solving questions, then simple, you can say that you are not prepared and you're not going to clear the cutoff of the examination. If you look at the SBI prelims this year, the cutoff went as high as 65 out of 100 marks. 65, getting 65 and in general category in the prelims paper within 60 minutes time, with sectional time limits of 20 minutes in maths, in reasoning and English, is not everyone's cup of tea unless you know the right techniques. So what we do here is teach you the best possible techniques. In our previous videos also, I have covered all of the important concepts and techniques and shortcut tricks required in cracking an examination like banking. And this is not just for banking. If you look at any other aptitude examination, whether it's MBA entrance, MAT, CLAT, you look at any defense-based examination, simple aptitude test, there also you will find these techniques extremely useful. Let's look at the next question now. So 200 and 180 students of school A and B passed the exam. 20% and 10% students from A and B did not pass the exam. How many students appeared in the exam from both the schools? 20% and 10% students did not pass the exam. That means 80% and 10%, 90% passed in the exam. You see, if 20% and 10% did not pass, it means 80% and 90% passed in the examination. Okay, now the number of students who have passed is already given to us, 200 and 180. So if 80% is 200, 100% will be equal to how much? And if 90% is 180, then 100% will be equal to how much? This is what we have to find out, these two values here, x1 and x2. So very simple to solve here. You can see here, cancel the zeros and you can say x is equal to 2000 by 8, and that is equal to 250. How much? 250. And if you see here, 90 will cancel this 2 times, and x2 is equal to 200. So add these two values, add them, you get how much? 450. So answer will be C. Again, this question should not take more than 10 to 15 seconds to solve, if you know the right way. So read the question and understand what is exactly given in the question. They're saying that 200 and 180 students of schools A and B passed the exam respectively. So 200 students passed from A and 180 students passed from B. Then they have given to you in this question the percentage of students from each of these schools A and B respectively who have not passed. So 20% have not passed from A and 10% have not passed from B. That means 80% have passed from A and 90% have passed from B. So 80% is equal to 200, so 100% will be equal to how much? And that I am finding out directly by comparison. I'm using this comparison technique to quickly get the answer. Similarly, if 90% is equal to 180, then 100% will be equal to how much? I get these two values, 250 and 200. And then I add these two values to get the answer 450. As you can see on the screen, the answer is 450. And a well-prepared student, who has good command over percentage topic, who knows how to calculate percentages better, and who can interpret this information quickly, should not take more than 10 to 15 seconds for getting the answer for this question. Okay, let's move on to the third question. Ram sold two items A and B at the same price. This is a question from the topic of profit and loss. So you can see the range of questions we have. One question was from speed, time and distance. Now this question is from profit and loss. And then one question was from percentage. So these are some of the very important topics from your exam point of view. Alright students, so let's look at this question and understand. First of all, lengthy question, a lot of information is given to you. So spend some 10 seconds in understanding the question if you're attempting it. So Ram sold two items A and B at the same price. The selling price of A is equal to selling price of B. That's point number one. Next, profit on one and incurring loss on the other. So on one article he has made profit and one article he has made loss. Now it's not mentioned here that the profit and loss are same. So don't jump into conclusion when you're reading a question like this. Ratio between the total selling price of both items together and total cost price of both the items together is 30:37. So total selling price and total cost price, the ratio is given to you as 30:37. And we know that selling price of both the articles is same. Okay. If he earns 25% on selling A, what was the loss incurred on selling on B in rupees 600? So now we know if he earns 25% of selling A, so that means he makes a profit of 25% on selling A. What was the loss incurred in selling B? So now selling price of B is given to you and selling price of B is 600. That means selling price of A is also 600. That means total selling price is 1200. See, selling price of both articles is same. So selling price of B is 600. Selling price of A is also 600. Total selling price is 1200. So you see this is 30. 30 into how much is 1200? So 30 into 4, 40 will give you 1200. Okay, so 37 into 40 let's do and find out the total cost price. 4 7 are 28, 2 in hand, 4 is 12 and 2 for 1480. So total cost price, total CP is equal to 1480. So now only thing we have to find out is what is the cost price of A, because we know the total cost price. Once we know the cost price of A, we can find out the cost price of B. And for that we know that if he earns 25% on selling A, so for A the profit percent is given to us, directly we'll find out the cost price. We know selling price, now 600 is the selling price and is equal to 100 plus 25. This formula is there, a basic formula you should definitely know if you have prepared for the examination. 100 plus 25 by 100 into cost price. This is the formula that we use, 25 into 5 and 25 into 24. 5 into 100 is 20 and then you multiply these two and you see 20 in this thing here. This is 5 and 5 into 20 and 24 into 480 rupees. So what is the cost price of one article? That is 480 rupees. The cost price of one article is 480. That means if you subtract 480 from here, the cost price of the other item would be 1000 rupees. And he's selling it for 600. So cost price of the other item B is 1000 rupees, and he's selling B at 600 rupees. So how much loss is making? 1000 minus 600, that's equal to 400. So that's here answer would be B, 400, and think that around 30 seconds would be required in solving and getting the answer. Although there's a lot of information here, we have to process the information properly, understand the question, read the question carefully, see what is given to you. Don't be under pressure while solving the question in the examination, and don't get afraid because you see a very lengthy question there. Okay, read carefully. It could be a very simple question to solve if you know what to read and understand, and if you know the basic formula as well. Okay, now let's move on to question number 4 and see what is there in this question. So now this question is from geometry. For a long time, a number of people who are training for bank exams, coaching institutes and different people, trainers for bank exams, were skipping the chapter of geometry, saying that, see, geometry does not come. Okay, so geometry does not come, but now if you have not done geometry because someone told you, a coaching institute told you, or your trainer told you that geometry is not a part of the banking examination. I've seen many videos of bank exams. I rarely come across videos which talk about geometry and discuss geometry. Even if they're discussing geometry in a training institute, they mostly keep it to simple triangles and quadrilaterals and finish it off there. Maximum they will focus on few of the questions on rectangles and squares. But volume and surface area is a very important aspect of geometry, and the moment we say volume and surface area, it covers everything. So basically, if you're preparing for banking examination, you can leave no stone unturned. You cannot skip out any topic, and you cannot think that, okay, this is not important, that is not important. In the last 3 years, if something has not come, then it will not come this year also. This approach, this strategy is not the best strategy. So when I train for bank exams, I make sure that I cover everything there, everything that has ever come in an examination like banking, or which has come in any other aptitude examination. Because ultimately banking is an examination of aptitude, numerical ability and aptitude. And so are many of the MBA entrance exams also in India, which are also a test of aptitude. So here if you look at the question here, the volume of a cylinder is 500 pi. So first of all, what is the formula for volume of a cylinder? So volume of a cylinder is given by the formula pi r square h, where r is the radius and h is the height. The volume of a cylinder is 500 pi and the radius is 5 centimeter. So pi into 5 square into height is 500 pi. So we can cancel pi, and we can say 25 will cancel this 20 times. So h is equal to 20. Okay. Now the height of the cylinder is equal to the diagonal of a square. So this height of the cylinder is equal to the diagonal of a square. So this diagonal of the square is 20. We know the formula. If the side of the square is a, then diagonal should be a root 2. So a root 2 is 20. Then a will be 20 by root 2. Find the perimeter of the square. The perimeter of the square is 4 times a. So 4 times 20 by root 2. Okay. 4 times 20 by root 2. So we can write it like this actually, 2 into 20. So at this 4 I'm writing 2 into 20 by root 2. And root 2 will cancel 2 root 2 times, and 20 into 2 is 40. So answer should be 40 root 2. So you should also know how to simplify and get the answer. This again, if you know all these concepts, it's a 30-second question. In fact, every question that you get in an aptitude exam like banking can be solved within 30 seconds if your concepts are clear and you know how to approach the question in the right way, and if you have the correct shortcut tricks and techniques to handle such questions in the examination. So question number 4 also we have discussed, and you can see here we needed 2 concepts here. One was the formula for volume of a cylinder. Second is the concept of squares. And you can also say a little bit about how to rationalize fractions. If the fraction has root in the denominator, it needs to be rationalized. That's called as rationalization of surds. And that's one concept that you, if you don't know, you can probably go and do a little bit of study on that. Let's move on to question number 5 here. So now you see again another question from time and work. Just keep following the variety of questions that you get in the exam. We had speed, time and distance, then we have percentage, and then we had profit and loss, then we had geometry now and time and work. And all of these questions are pretty informative, like 2-3 sentences. Reading time is also required. All right, let's approach here the question and see what we can do. A alone can do a work in 20 days. So A alone 20 days. B is 25% more efficient than A. A and B started working and worked for 4 days. If C alone completed the remaining job in 22 days, how many days C alone takes to complete the entire job? Okay, so A and B started working and worked for 4 days. So B is 25% more efficient than A. Okay, let's see. So if I say A's efficiency is, let's take A's efficiency, because we're talking percentage here. If you want, you can take A's efficiency as 100. So A's efficiency is 100. I can multiply these two values and say that let the total work be 2000. This is one of the ways of approaching the question. Okay, there are different methods, and I am just taking one of them. You can solve in so many other ways also. Now 20 into 100. So if B is 25% more efficient than A, then say 125. And 125, when you divide 2000 by 125, how much you get? So you can 16 times, you can say 16 into 125 is equal to 2000. So B will complete the work in 16 days. Okay. Also, we can directly relate with A's efficiency. A can do a work in 20 days and B is 25% more efficient. Now 25% is 1 by 4. Right, so 25% is 1 by 4. So if you see 1 by 4, 1 plus 1 by 4, that is equal to 5 by 4. Then if you take it as 4 by 5 and multiply with 20, you will get here 16 days. Directly you can find out the number of days taken by B. Or you can take efficiency as 100 and solve. Both ways I am showing you how to work it out and get the efficiency directly. So let's say that total work is 2000 and A and B are completing the work in 20 days and 16 days alone. A and B started the work and worked together for 4 days. So in 4 days A and B were working together. So 100 plus 125, add this 225. 225 into 4 is 900. That means 900 work was done in 4 days. So now how much work is remaining? Subtract 2000 minus 900. You will say 1100 work is remaining. This much work was remaining. And C alone completed the remaining job in 22 days. Matlab, what is C's per day rate of work? 1100 by 22. So 11 into 100, 11 into 2. 100 by 2, 50. So C can do 50 units per day. 50 units per day C can do. How many days C alone takes to complete the entire job? Entire job is 2000. So 2000 by 50 is equal to 4. So 2000, okay, so 40 days. What is the answer? 40 days E. So look at this question and understand how we have approached this question. First of all, one approach is that you take A's total work as 20. A can complete the work in 20 days. B can complete in 16 days. Take efficiency of A as 100, and so B's efficiency will become 125, and total work is 20 into 100, that is 2000 units. Total work, how much work is there? 2000 units. So how many days will B take? Divide 2000 by 125, and if you know that 8 into 25 is 1000, then 2000 by 125 will be 16. So B will take 16 days. Now efficiency of A is 100 and B is 125. Combined efficiency is 225. They have worked for 4 days, so 4 into 225 is 900. From 2000 units of work, 900 units of work is done. So what is left now? 1100 units to be done. Okay, remaining work is 1100. And so if you divide 1100 by 22, why 22? Because C can do the remaining work in 22 days. We get the efficiency of C, which is 50 units here. And total work we know is 2000. So 2000 by 50 is 440. So 40 days is your answer. This is how you will approach question number 5. Alright, now let's look at question number 6. Now this is a probability question, and if you look at the previous papers of SBI and IBPS PO, particularly if you're looking at IBPS PO, then from 2015 you can say, from 2014-15, you will not see questions from probability in the IBPS PO prelims paper or the mains paper. That means for 14, 15, even 16, 17, 18, that's 5 years, 4 years, 14, 15, 16, 17. For 4 years, there were no questions from probability in the IBPS prelims paper. So what a number of trainers and institutes started doing is to tell the student that, see, probability is anyhow not going to come. So why should you waste time spending on learning about probability? But now what do those same institutes and trainers have to say when they see a question coming back? So this is my advice to you students, that if anything has come in an examination, and I'm talking about any exam, if anything has come in an examination in the past, it can well come again in the future. Even if there's no precedent of it coming in the last few years, it can still come in the examination. So never leave a topic because it's not there in the previous paper or the previous 2 or 3 papers. Okay, so a bag contains X red balls. So we have how many red balls? X. And 5 green balls. Green balls we have 5. 2 balls are picked up from the bag at random, one after the other without replacement. The probability of both the balls being red is 3/7. What will be the value of X? Okay. So for the first ball and second ball, this is how I solve these questions. Okay. Now this is the trick. I don't use combination and permutation formulas for solving questions like this. For the first ball, the probability is X by 5 plus X, because there are total of 5 plus X balls, and out of 5 plus X balls are red in color. So now I multiply here. Now if the first ball has been taken out, the number of red balls remaining would be X minus 1, and number of balls remaining would be 5 plus X minus 1, or that would be 4 plus X. Okay, so total number of balls would be 4 plus X, and then we have X minus 1, and this is given to you as 3/7, that X by 5 plus X into X minus 1 by 4 plus X is equal to 3/7. What is the value of X? Now the best way I would say is to use the answer options and try it out. Okay, because you see, otherwise it will take a lot of time. So look at answer option A. So we have 10 by 15 into 9 by 14. Okay, so 5 into 2, 5 into 3, 3 into 3, 9, and 2 into 7, 14. We get 3/7. So that means answer is 10 itself. If 10 was not there, we would have tried 15 or 13, and then we have seen. But still, it's better than solving these two equations. Multiplying 5 plus X into 4 plus X and then forming a quadratic equation and then solving that quadratic equation and getting the answer is definitely not the right strategy. Okay, so the best way of doing this question is frame the equation, then put the value. I put the value as 10, and instantly I got the answer as 3/7. So that means the answer is 10 itself. So save so much time. In 20 seconds the question will be over if you know the concept properly, and if you apply it in the right way. That means don't form equations, create the equation, don't solve the equation, place the values and check. Alright, now let's move on to the next question. Again, here we have a question of simple interest and compound interest. Very lengthy question. It's almost like a short reading comprehension. You can see here, rupees 7,000 divided unequally and invested in scheme A offered compound interest at 10%. So scheme A is compound interest, and how much this is offering? 10% per annum. And in scheme B, that is simple interest, and simple interest, it offers 15% per annum for 2 years and 3 years. So in scheme A, I am investing my money for 2 years, and scheme B, I am investing the money for 3 years. If the investment earned from scheme A is 84%, that earned from scheme B. Okay, so whatever we are earning from scheme A is 84% of whatever we are earning in scheme B. Find the sum invested in scheme A. Now this is one question which, if you solve in the normal process of using the formula of compound interest and simple interest and then working it out, is going to be extremely time taking. Okay, so what we are going to do here is a very different approach of solving the question. So if we have 2 years and 10%, let's just find out what will be the total percentage. For 2 years 10%, we can calculate like this: 10 plus 10 plus 10 into 10 by 100. So that's 100, 101, 21. So what is the percentage here? 21%. Multiplying 2 into 21%, that is 42% interest I am going to get here on my amount invested in the case of compound interest, we are going to get 42%. And if you look at scheme B, 15% in 3 years. So if I multiply, that is 45% I am getting from scheme B. That is in the case of simple interest. Okay, now the investment earned from scheme A is 84%. So whatever we are earning from scheme A is 84%, and total amount is 7,000. Total amount is how much? 7,000. So if I say that A is X and B is 7,000 minus X, okay, so we can say 42% of X is equal to 84% of 45% I am earning, no, in scheme B. So 45% of 7,000 minus X. Directly I get the equation here now. So I am earning 42% from my investment in scheme A, from whatever principal I am investing. I am saying that let that be X. So 42% is my investment is earning 42% from X, and it should be equal to 84% of what I am earning in scheme B. And how much I am earning from scheme B? I am earning 45% from scheme B. So if you cancel this 100 will get cancelled. 42 will cancel 84 two times. So what basically we will get here is X by 7,000 minus X should be equal to, now 2 into 45 is 90 by 100, or that means I should get the ratio 9 by 10. That means the value that I should take for X is such that it should give me the ratio of 9 by 10. Okay, X and 7,000 minus X, that gives me the ratio here of 9 by 10. Okay, so if you check the values, possible values would be, one second, let me just see and try to work it out. 3,600 would give me how much? 42% we have earned in this scheme, that is X, and 84% from scheme B. So that's 42, 100 cancelled, and 42 into 2 is 84, and that's 45 by 100. So 2 into 45 is 90 by 100. So yeah, this looks perfectly right, no? That is 9 by 10. So what value I can put here? Or we can say 10x is equal to 6,300, 63,000 minus 9x, or x is equal to, that's getting me the wrong answer, no, 63,000 I am getting. Something wrong is there. One second. 2 years and 3 years in the investment earned from scheme A is 84%, that earned from scheme B. So scheme B, find the sum invested in scheme A. 2 years we are there. Okay, it's not 2 into 21%. Actually, it's only 21%. That's the mistake here. Okay, let me just correct the question here. Since I had already calculated this value, keeping in mind that this, when I use the formula here, we'll just make a small correction here. Sometimes while doing in live class, you can do little mistakes. Okay, let's see. So once we know that 10 and 10 is 20, when I calculated this 21%, that was basically a combined interest for 2 years. No, so this is 21%, not 42%. So we can say 21% of scheme A is equal to 84% of 45% of the amount invested in scheme B, that is 7,000 minus X. 100 gets cancelled. This is going to cancel this 4 times, and 4 will cancel 125 times. 5 into 5 and 5 into 9, so 9 by 5. X by 7,000 minus X is equal to 9 by 5. So you can either break it into a ratio and solve. So once you know the ratio is 9 and 5, the sum of these two is 14, and total amount is 7,000. So we are going to multiply here how much? 14 into 50. So 500. So that means 40 into 50 will give you, so that means here we are going to get 9 into 500, 4,500 will be the answer. Answer will be answer option A. So again, you see what we have done here. Compound interest and simple interest are not doing the whole calculation. Directly I am solving it by taking this 10% and finding out what will be the cumulative interest for 2 years 21%, and 15% into 3 is 45%. This will take, if you do it properly, around 10 seconds. Then write this equation, get the ratio. Once you have the ratio, you can find out the amount invested in scheme A as well as scheme B. That's question number 7 for you. Let's move on to question number 8. Now this is the question of ratio based questions. Another topic here which is very common in exams, ratio topic. The ratio of ages of P and Q is 3 is to 5. So P and Q, the ratio of their age is 3 is to 5. Age of S and T together is 20 years more than age of S and T. So let's take 3x and 5x. Age of S and T together is 20 years more than thrice the age of R. So 3 times R plus 20 years more than thrice the age of R. Q's age after 8 years will be 43. So Q after 8 years will be 43, which means Q is equal to 43 minus 8, and that is 35. So if Q is 35, 5x is 30. One second, just open this file again. Okay, so let's begin from, start from the beginning. So ratio of P and Q is 3 is to 5. Okay, 3x and 5x, if you want you can take. Now S and T together, S plus T together is 20 years more than 3 times the age of R. Now Q's age after 8 years, Q's age after 8 years will be 43. So Q's age is 35. And if 5x is 35, x is equal to 7, then 3x is 21. So P's age is 21 and Q's age is 35. Okay. Now, thrice the age of Q, thrice the age of Q. So 3 times the age of Q is equal to 7 times the age of R. 7 times age in R. So that means 7 into 5. R's age is equal to 15. R's age is equal to 15. 7 times, where is it? Thrice the age of Q is equal to 7 times the age of R, and sum of ages of Q and R and S. So Q plus R plus S is 95 years. So we know R is 15 and Q is 35. 35 plus 15 is 50. So 50 plus how much should S be? 45. So S is 45. So we have got S. What is the sum of age of P after 11 years and age of T before 9 years? So now we have to find out the age of T. So we know age of S is 45. So 45 plus T, 45 plus T is equal to 20 plus 3R, and 3R means 45. So 45 plus 20. So that means age of T is 20 years. Age of T is 20. What is the sum of age of P after 11 years? Right now the age of P is 21. So 21 plus 11, and age of T before 9 years. T is 20 right now. So 20 minus 9. So 41 plus 2, that is 43 years. That's a little time taking because lots of information is here, but still I think you can solve it in 40-45 seconds in the examination. So 41 plus 2, that's answer is 43 years, or answer option B. That's for question number 8. Now let's look at this question here. We have, this is what is a data interpretation set actually. It's a DI set. This year's paper, we had a DI set last year, 2018 paper. 5 questions based on this caselet. So a case-based DI, not a table-based or a pie chart-based, a case-based DI. A salon distributed 450 vouchers of free haircut and pedicure. Total vouchers are 450. The number of haircut vouchers were 130 more than number of pedicure vouchers. Okay, so immediately we can find out. So x plus 130, okay, is equal to 450. 2x is equal to 320. X is equal to 160. So the number of haircut watches are 130 more than number of pedicure watches. So haircut watches and pedicure watches, this is 160. and 160 plus 130, that's 290. So haircut watches are 290 and pedicure watches are 160. That part we have done. So till this part we have nothing left to solve now. The ratio of between the male and female getting the pedicure watches is 3:7. So male is to female 13:7, total is 20, and we know the total pedicure watches are 160. That's 8 times we are multiplying, so 56 and 13 into 8, 104. So 104 males have got the pedicure watches and 56 females have got the pedicure watches. Okay, a number of vouchers redeemed by males for haircuts was 15 more than that of vouchers redeemed by males for pedicure. A number of vouchers redeemed by males for haircut were 15 more than vouchers redeemed by males for pedicure. Okay, the number of vouchers we now know. So total vouchers we have 450, out of which haircut vouchers are 290 overall, male and female combined, and pedicure vouchers are 160. And males who have the pedicure vouchers we know is equal to 104, and females who have the pedicure vouchers we know is equal to 56. This much data we have right now, and we know that number of vouchers redeemed, not vouchers redeemed and having vouchers are two different things here. So number of vouchers redeemed by males for haircut were 15 more than the vouchers redeemed by males for pedicure. Not necessarily that all vouchers were redeemed, that also the question is mentioning here, and then we have to go and solve the question. What is the difference between male and female getting the pedicure voucher? This question we can easily solve because we know this from the previous slide here, that 104 and 56. So we can just take the difference of 104 and 56. And that will be 44 plus 4, 48. That's answer option A. How many males redeemed the pedicure vouchers? This question right now we don't have information about this actually, because a number of vouchers redeemed by males for haircut were 15 more. There's no talk about redeeming of vouchers. 15 more than that redeemed by males for pedicure. Okay, so this information we don't have. Either we need additional information from the question to solve it, otherwise we don't have information about the vouchers being redeemed. So these are some of the examples. Some more information could be passed on from the questions to solve the question. So this is an example of the question from data interpretation. 5 questions were there from this set, and this is not a complex set of DI. All the information that we need is directly given to us here itself. So that's the overall view of the IBPS PO 2018 paper. I hope you have seen some of the most challenging questions, and if you compare it with the previous year 17 and 18, the 18 paper, the mathematics part, arithmetic part was tougher, but the data interpretation part was simpler. The questions of the arithmetic part were lengthier and take more time to read, and if you could solve them faster if you knew the right shortcut techniques. So students, I'll keep the class till here, and I'll be joining you again with the next session of IBPS PO 2018 reasoning review that will start today right now after 10 minutes at 11 o'clock. We'll be looking at the reasoning questions from the IBPS PO 2018 paper. So thank you for joining with me now, and I'll be waiting for you in the next session. See you. Thank you.